So you have an encroachment advisory on your RPR. What's next?
RPRs that receive an encroachment advisory can definitely be a hassle. And when it comes to resolving this issue, there are really only two ways that it can be done.
One option when dealing with an encroachment on an RPR is to remove the encroachment and request an updated RPR from your surveying company, aka us. The update can be submitted to the city for another review and may receive compliance based on the removal.
Now, there's no cost to this option, as the city will accept an RPR resubmission as long as it's within 6 months of the original date of the compliance submission.
A second option would be to enter into an encroachment agreement with the City of Calgary.
An encroachment agreement will allow the structure that is encroaching to remain on the property, and they are separated into a few different categories at the city's encroachment department.
Encroachments are separated into 3 schedules, Schedules A, B, and C, and all come with their own additional fees. How these schedules get assigned is dependent on the extremity of the encroachment.
That's right. The city determines encroachments by the distance an object is encroaching from your property onto city property. For example, a Schedule A encroachment means that there's an object on your property that's encroaching somewhere between 0 and 34 centimeters onto city property.
If your RPR receives a Schedule A advisory, count yourself one of the lucky ones. With Schedule A encroachments, a consent letter will need to be filled out and submitted along with a $50 application fee. Consent letters generally take just a few weeks to process at the city, and once completed, your real property report is good to go.
That's right, but for Schedule B and C advisories, the fees can definitely jump way up into the hundreds of dollars, depending on how much the object in question is encroaching onto city property.
That's right. Completing a Schedule B or C encroachment agreement will take time and can take an additional 3 to 6 months to be processed and be registered on the land title certificate. In addition to paying a significant fee to the city, you'll also be required to sign all the paperwork prepared by the city and have it notarized.
That's correct. Schedule B and C encroachment agreements can also be slightly more complex, as they do require signatures from new homeowners of the property if the RPR was required for the sale of the home and the new homeowners have already moved in.
You definitely want to avoid a Schedule B or C encroachment. If possible, removing the encroaching object will help avoid going through this lengthy process with the city.
So just to recap here, the city classifies encroachment agreements for RPRs into a few different categories. These categories are Schedule A, B, and C.
Schedule A encroachments involve objects or structures encroaching onto city property from 0 to 34 centimeters and will cost you an additional $50. You'll be asked to sign a consent letter with an agreement with the City of Calgary, which can take a few weeks to complete.
Now, Schedule B and C are for objects encroaching any amount over 34 centimeters and greater. Processing the paperwork for Schedule B and C encroachments can take 3 to 6 months to process at the city and land titles, and the cost is significantly more depending on how much the object is encroaching onto city property.
It is also good to note that there may be additional processing fees to fill out the paperwork required, should you have your land surveying company submit the application on your behalf.
So as we wrap up this video, it's good to keep in mind that you can always choose to remove any object that is encroaching onto city property and skip this entire process altogether.
The encroachment process can be a tricky one, but we are always here to help. If you have any further questions about encroachment agreements, give us a call or send us an email. Thanks so much for tuning in.